Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a quick video here kind of just explaining the water situation in Frazier Park. So basically, obviously we have the pond here in town that has dried up, but not just the pond there has dried up, also the creek bed. Just probably 10-15 years ago this was filled with water, and not a lot of water, I will say that, but it definitely always had water, and now there's definitely no water in it. So the real question is what happened to the water in Frazier Park? And I've been doing a lot of, well, research, mostly on Google Maps, kind of just following the streams and trying to figure out exactly where the water kind of goes on the mountain, looking at the elevations, kind of just trying to see exactly what's going on here. And as you can see, Frazier and Pinyon Pines, Lake of the Woods, and PMC, they're kind of on a little bit more of a elevation. They're a little higher elevation than Lockwood Valley is. And a lot of our water was coming from Lockwood Valley, so if we zoom out here, Frazier Park's not a very big place, but this mountain is the highest range in a very, very large area. I'm pretty sure it goes all the way up to like Mount Whitney's the next largest mountain. But anyway, doing a lot of research on where the water comes from, and if this being the tallest point is usually where a lot of the waters comes from, where a lot of the snowpack is, and what is basically happening there is that the water, obviously melts, comes down the hill, and there's some waterfalls back here in PMC. I don't know exactly where it is. I tried to find it and I couldn't see it, but I know it's up there. And anyway, the water trickles down, flows into these reservoirs. As you can see, like this one is a pretty good example. Most of the water that comes down off of these V's here actually kind of goes back into the water, and if it doesn't go back into the water, it's supposed to go back into the water system here. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I think the water in Frazier Park is drying up, mostly because we have people blocking off water that's usually running that would allow the water table throughout the entire community to fill up. So every time this water stopped, and they got 3 lakes here in PMC, ponds, every time they stop that water from going down, it stops that from actually filling up the water table, which we are at a desperate point at right now. But PMC, as you can see right here, this is the tallest point. It's like right here, right there, behind PMC. And you can see it's kind of got a nice little V shape. So most of that water actually goes down to San Domingo Creek. And we didn't see most of it in Frazier Park. And even if we did, like I said, most of it went down this way. So PMC didn't really take our water. It's always kind of gone that way. And on the backside, Lockwood Valley here, they do have some pretty big creeks here, but again, these were or used to be springs, natural springs coming out of the ground, and they're no longer natural springs. So, where did the Frazier Park water go, is the real question. So we've got Pinyon Pines here, and I've done a lot of research on some local or some other people trying to rebuild their water tables and to help the environment grow and rebuild their creek beds and stuff. And when I was a kid, right here in front of Pinyon Pines, this was a lake. This was all lake here. And now it's not. And the one thing that they have had here from the Darling Cattle Ranch is cattle. And cattle are notorious for destroying landscapes and destroying native grasses to help permeate the water table. So, there's one problem right here. We've got cows and we've got people blocking off basically the only creek beds, without really making sure that they're at least still running or, flowing properly and surrounded by the correct vegetation. And, a lot of this landscaping here, even though it looks great, it's actually destroying the little bit of water that we do have in our community. So anyway, yeah, a lot of that water did come down from there. Looking back here, just basically behind Pinyon Pines, we do have a formidable amount of places for water to come down. And they do, actually. And if you look, there's a couple places where the water starts. You can see right here, that's kind of a natural formation that goes up there. But you can see it's all been blocked by houses, destroying the natural flow of the water. So anyway, the water is supposed to come down through here, go down here, and as you can see, this is where it actually starts to kind of come back up. And I was looking around, I said, what? There's a sea train in front of this one? That's weird, Also, the field's obviously tilled, and it looks like, yeah, they do have cattle back here. That is the Darlings Ranch still, I think, back here. Somewhere back here, I think, is where they lose it. Somewhere around here, probably. Once you go down a little bit farther, as you can see, these are all natural springs. And they don't look horrible. And the water goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down. And then we've got this guy who decided, there's a little bit of the creek runoff there still too, right? But, all these native grasses that helped give a lot of wildlife and water back to the community has just been ripped out of it. Literally ripped out. So as you can see, the water's supposed to kind of go down through here, kind of go down through here, and whoa, what's that? That's another spring, right on this guy's property. So whoever this is obviously has probably stopped the water coming down, and probably thinking that either one, it's, good money, or two, it's, he could sell it, whatever the reason being, water in California is 21st century gold. It's it's pretty heartbreaking. This all used to have kind of a lake bed in it, and you can kind of tell the remnants of it, but due to the lack of water being able to get back to this area to refill the water table and to refill the lakes, and so that's 2 lakes right there. 1, 2, gone. That water used to come back down through here and go right underneath, or right beside the Moose Lodge, Mike's Pizza, and the Mini Mart, and right through this hole, right? So that's where all that water used to come from. And then you look and you see, oh, okay, cool. There's another creek at the fork at the Y right there, separating Pinyon Pines and Lockwood Valley. So now we check out this water, and this is where it gets pretty weird. So there's a couple people who do own water around this area, and the first basically large ranch, first property you get to after you take that left past the Mini Mart, is the Lockhart Ranch. And the Lockhart Ranch has probably been there, it's been there most of my life. It's across the street from the Chicopee Ranger Station. But as you can see, not only do they have a lake, but it used to feed into the natural water, allowing the water table to refill. What happened to that? That's a spring right there, just coming right out of the ground. It's crazy. This bed, completely dry. Now it looks like the Lockharts actually haven't completely stopped their flow, which is a good thing. That's exactly the kind of thing we want. But you could see in the Lake of the Woods creek bed, when I was a kid, this was nothing but water. There's nothing but water here. Now it's all gone. So we follow that creek bed, and obviously, yep, that's it. And what would help restore this water table, they are also a cow farmer. and cow farmer, cattle people, and they have a lot of cows on this land, a lot of grazing, a lot of stuff, and like I said, what that does is it destroys the native grasses that allow the water to absorb into the ground. So we keep following that, all right? And that water, let's see what we can do here. I get a better shot of the water here. Kind of goes up the mountain here and comes from this creek right here. Now where's this creek? This creek is nothing but an alluvial fan. And now there might be a spring up there, but as you can see right about there, it might still keep going. Might still keep going. Chichipady campground. So you just follow the creek and just keep on going, see what we can see. Got a road here that's obviously blocking some of the natural drainage. And that is definitely a spring, unless it's coming from somewhere else. Now, the only other water in the Frazier Park area, that was weird, I've never seen that before. Just a campground and a tree. Thought that was some water. There is the only other place with water, obviously, you know, all the water's gone. There used to be 3 lakes here in Lake of the Woods. 1, 2, 1, 2. No, sorry, wrong place. 1, 2, 3. Those were the 3 lakes, and maybe that's a lake too. I don't know, but there were 3 lakes in Lake of the Woods. All gone now. No water running through it. All gone. Frazier Park, all that water runs through here. Used to run through here, helping fill this ground table. This ground table helped support the pond. The second that that water stopped coming from here, the pond went dry, and so did basically any signs of life in Frazier Park. As we kind of zoom back out and we kind of look back at the creek and the water situation, what I noticed was there's a lot of problems kind of here in Lockwood Valley. Lockwood Valley has definitely gotten a lot more deserty in my time, and used to be a very lush green place when my grandpa built his house there back in the 70s. And so what I found here was where all these creeks kind of intersect. Lockwood Creek, Amagrosa Creek, San Guillermo Creek, sorry about that, North Fork Lockwood Creek and Middle Fork Lockwood Creek all kind of combined right here, and all their water comes from, you guessed it, PMC, the largest part of the mountain. So all that water does run off into this area here, and this area here is really big also. Place that needs the water table raised. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so we've got all these forks, and I went up and I looked and I said, okay, well, what's going on here? This is Tommy Warner's property, and he, what it looked like to me was that he actually either had a lake here at some point, or he artificially put the water in there, which is good. If he did that, he obviously didn't keep it up. Maybe the water down here stopped flowing. But it's kind of hard to believe, because most of that water actually comes from... Yeah, no, never mind. So yeah, as far as there's also this little bit of water back here along Dave's ranch. But other than that, you know, getting these, I honestly think a big problem is going to be the cows and the grasses being destroyed on those ends, but it's also, you know, a lack of the actual natural animals that help create ecosystems, you know. So in my opinion, you know, we should be trying to find any water that's left out here, throw some beavers in there, and try and slow that water down as much as we can, just to kind of help whatever ground water we do have left. I mean, I imagine, Frazier Park just being where it is, we're on the edge of, like, the Mojave Desert. It's this huge V. It's the craziest thing on the planet. You could see it from ever, and you just know that Frazier Park's at the end of the V. I don't know, guys, where I'm going with this. There's also been some talk of Tajon Ranch, and I've seen them put some of the gutters up of Tajon Ranch, basically taking the water and putting it either back in their lake or storing it somewhere. But if you look right here, this was probably made around when I was born, and it comes out here and it kind of goes back into the creek, so some of that water can kind of refill the table. But that's the only thing that I ever saw. See, a dam here would be great. Could you imagine if this was all water? This is all cliff. It's freaking 40 feet high. If this was all water, oh man, it'd be amazing. That's the water that's left here. Privately owned, by the way. So yeah, there it is. That is the Frazier Park water situation. Castaic Lake is pretty dry as well. And the rest of this fan doesn't really have any water until you get to like Big Valley or Bear Valley and Tehachapi. Over here, Tokoyama's even worse. They get most of their water from forgot what the lake was called. It's not there. It's not there. It's like around here. Right there, boom. From the Twitchell Reserve, and a lot of that water goes down through the Koyama Valley, and that water has also stopped coming. Now, water has not been coming a lot lately. Now, usually, the one thing that I do find odd is that there's always water here. Always water in here. There's a creek that goes on the side of the freeway on the 33 here. Sespe Creek always has water. Now, where does that water come from? Bingo. Rays Peak. A lot of water. Ground table's still very good there. So anyway, that's my little video about the Frazier Park water. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and go ahead and comment your questions, concerns, ideas on what we need to do to kind of help get this water to stay back in the community. I mean, we need this water, people. This is a big deal. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys later.